So I think we're gonna wait.
Still hasn't gotten a. She still hasn't gotten a camera yet.
No, we were just making fun of her about that. Ooh, I'd have a good breakout session thing for y'all.
See. This smaller.
All right, I think we'll wait like 3 more minutes and then we'll start. I'll start 1:10. Ooh. Is my computer faster than the regular time?
It's only 102.
Yeah, my computer says 107. Okay, we'll wait a few more minutes then. Did Jason do that to me on purpose?
I have the same thing. My computer says 106. I always have to look at my watch or my phone because it's so off.
Okay, I'm just like, did he just?
Mine says 1:30.
What?
Mine is 23 minutes ahead of time.
We should all connect with Jason then.
Yeah.
I'm on Saturday.
To my emails.
What? Someone's on Saturday?
I'm just kidding. No, but mine is ahead too. This is Eduardo.
Cool beans. All right.
Just got a bunch of people accepting the invite, so maybe they're navigating their way through registration. There's
Yeah, we got a couple of people coming in. Welcome, everybody. We're waiting for a couple more minutes so we can get a few more people in here.
Hey.
Hey, is that Jarmare?
No, it's Siraji.
Hi, Siraji. How are you?
Hi. Good. How are you?
Really good. It's good to hear your voice.
Yeah.
All right. Jarmare.
Yes.
You should be our DJ for like 3 minutes.
DJ. Oh.
Can I be the DJ for 3 minutes?
Huh?
Nothing.
Quick second here.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. So welcome everybody to our career explorations. We are going to have a little bit different career explorations than we normally do. We're actually going to have someone talk to us about professional development and being people of color in the workplace. And we're going to hear his story, and then he'll tell us a little bit about how he got into doing what he does. So our guest is Emmanuel Solomon, and he is a Portland native. So he's from Portland, and we will hear more from him after we do our breakout session. So I'm going to give you guys a quick breakout section, and you are going to introduce yourselves to people in your group and tell them, if you had one superpower, what would it be? Okay. And 1 second. All right. Oh, this is cute. Okay. Oh, David, you gotta join your breakout room.
To a breakout room. All right, here we go.
Oh, April didn't join ours. She's supposed to be in here. Okay. I'm gonna keep us right here until let them do their little get into a group situation.
Okay, that's cool. I actually need to start learning how to do that because Zoom, I'm just kind of a newbie to Zoom. So I need to learn how to do that. These little tricks to the trade.
Okay, yeah, it should just be me and you here. Okay, I got them in different groups. Do we have more people joining us? Give them a minute or two to chat with each other.
That's cool. So,
yeah, you can do polling questions and things like that. I'll get this out there to get me some bites.
yeah. Get it. That's tight though. You can, I'm wondering, yeah, I'm gonna have to use you as a resource because I'm doing another workshop here soon, and I was always, just kind of pulling questions together for the group, but now because of what you're saying, basically, you can segment the groups within your thing. So that's something I need to learn about. Yeah.
You can segment them, and then you, like I said, you can every time you do a Zoom, after you arrange it, you can put up poll questions. So if you do like questionnaires and you don't want to break them up, you can just say, I'm gonna put up a poll question, please answer the questions, and I'll answer all the questions. And then it gives you the percentages of the answers and everything and all of that.
Oh, wow.
Too.
Yeah. I gotta talk to you. I gotta talk to you.
I'm only learning how to do it because we have to do it for like our orientations we do for the kids to get jobs.
What'd you end up getting? What'd you end up getting? What kind of food?
Oh, it's some Mexican food. Okay, they're coming back. Hello. Did we get everyone back? All right. All right. So I am going to give the floor to Mr. Solomon, and he can tell us his story, and then we'll come back and reconvene after that.
Cool. So I don't know if, I mean, people probably got stuff muted and stuff, but I just want to pose this question just to see how everybody's doing. Is everybody doing all right today?
Yeah.
That's good, man. This is a beautiful day. A few of us were just talking beforehand on these nice warm days. We gotta cherish them, especially being here in Portland, because that rain is coming. But my name is Emmanuel Solomon. With Emmanuel Solomon Training and Coaching, I'm an interpersonal skills coach. I help high-performing professionals of color to promote and reposition with power through increasing their cultural, emotional intelligence. And so just to kind of expand on interpersonal skills coach, all that means is that I work on the personal side and the people side of interactions. So, you know, communication, negotiation, learning how to emotionally regulate, deepen your awareness of self and of culture. All these other things are areas that I really focus on. And so I'm a people skills coach, essentially. And I'm from Portland, Oregon. I grew up in North Portland, kind of in the interstate Killingsworth area. You know, and that's, I mean, that Portland back then was dramatically different. We actually had a Black community at one point. It seems like now we're kind of struggling to pick up the pieces after gentrification. But you know, I'm from the city. I am a native, but I really have a passion for people, and that is the whole reason why I started Emmanuel Solomon Training and Coaching. It's because of my love for people, and my passion really is for really helping people of color, because I feel like people of color, especially in more specifically professionals of color, need the most help navigating systems of whiteness and white supremacy that are prevalent in our work and our personal lives. And so I've got some experience from a lot of different fields, and it's kind of crazy. I'll probably have to preface this because people might not understand, but I actually moved from animal sciences to people sciences, right? So this is kind of crazy. I know I'm a little nerd, you know, but I actually originally got my degree in fish and wildlife, like animals and animal sciences was my thing, like, and it still is. I went to Oregon State, graduated from there, got my degree in fish and wildlife. I tried the career for about 7 years of my life, and it didn't really equate to really what I wanted. I navigated between that and working with kids. So sometimes I would work on my I would go and do some seasonal position out in the middle of nowhere. Okay, basically, just think of places like Hebo, Oregon. Okay, does anybody know where Hebo, Oregon is? Anybody?
No.
Okay. Well, Hebo, Oregon is kind of like it's this tiny little town about 20 minutes away from Tillamook. I mean, you guys know where Tillamook is, but it's in this little small section of you know, near Tillamook. And so I was, you know, doing work there, and then I'd go to Wenatchee, Washington. I don't know if anybody knows where Wenatchee is, but it's beautiful. It's beautiful country. But I'd be doing all these seasonal positions, and then I'd come back and while I was laid off, I would be working with the community. I'd be working with kids. I'd be you know, working with kids with the you know the more challenging more challenging behaviors and things like that. But I was able to connect with everyone along the way. So I remember working as a youth advocate. I remember working with special needs kids at one point. I even worked as a teacher for early childhood for a while, and eventually moved into HR and human resources. It's kind of where I found a place where I really wanted to lay my hat, so to speak. And so in HR, I discovered, all these different nuances about how people interact on a professional level. And it was eye-opening. It was like, oh, wow, like you can't say that, but you can say this, but there are so many like little nuances, little things that I had to learn along the way. But I was blessed to have a really, really good core group, core team, and some what I call bright spots along the way that helped me to figure out how to navigate on a professional level. And these bright spots, these folks that were Black, brown, and unapologetic, but could still promote and could still reposition themselves, could still advance their careers. I noticed some things about them that was different than everybody else, and they didn't have to shy away from their culture or their ethnicity. They were unapologetically and authentically them, but yet at the same time, they were advancing. It wasn't like they were stagnant, because a lot of times you'll see folks that are you'll see folks that are unapologetically Black and brown, but they're not able to express themselves in appropriate ways or in ways that are authentic and still are not hostile. And so I was observing these folks that were able to do both, and that's really where I got the idea and started what I call cultural emotional intelligence, which is this intersection between cultural ethnicity and emotional intelligence. And I saw that there was this happy marriage, so to speak. It was this beautiful marriage that I saw different high-performing professionals. They had it. They had the people skill, and they had their culture. They didn't have to leave it behind in order to advance. And I was wondering, like, wow, like, how did they do that? What were the things that they were doing? And so I started really studying success. I started studying success habits. I started studying interpersonal skills. Like, wow, like how do you connect with somebody on a deep level? How do you connect with somebody on a professional level? How do you merge that? How do you marry those two? And I took the last 8 years of my life, literally, to just dive into personal and professional development, where I'm, reading books, on a regular basis, listening to great thought leaders, great speakers, great leaders in their professions, in their fields, so that I can understand, like, what are the keys to creating success personally, and what are the keys to creating success professionally. And when I did this, I started to notice a change in myself. I started to realize, like, man, my swag is a little bit different. Like, I can take on more. Life doesn't seem as overwhelming, so to speak. Life is challenging, but if you have the right tools and you have the right mindset, you can take on anything. And I started to see this this change in me, and I remembered some of my mentors, and I remembered some of those people that I listened to those experts in their field that had, done, made millions and billions of dollars, and were amazing at whatever craft they were in, whether it's their health, whether it's their finance, whatever. I just kept studying and kept reading and kept getting around experts, and really getting mentorship was a huge part of that. Just finding people that have fruit on the tree. That was a game changer for me. It's like, how do you find these people, and how do you position yourself in a way where they want to actually help you? Like, because there's a lot of people out there, but how do you position yourself in a way that they want to help you? And I realized that all these things kind of all of these keys to success kind of revolved around people skills. It was like I know it's like a no-brainer, but sometimes people don't understand that it's not just your skill level. It's not just like how well you can perform. It's also how well how good are you with people. And that's when I started really studying that and growing in my interpersonal skills and people skills, I realized something called emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence was so intricate to my development with people. I mean, I love people already, and I had some really great skills with people just kind of naturally. I would spark up conversations with so many different people because I was in so many different industries, and I realized how people acted and those kind of things. So on an intuitive level or on a personal level, I was pretty good with people. But as I started to really develop myself and understand emotional intelligence, that was the game changer. That was the game changer. And that was the thing that really separated me. So I developed a system of emotional intelligence that fit Black and brown people, that looked from our lens. Because I realized that when I was studying emotional intelligence, it still had this white lens of it on it. It filtered out a lot of key areas that Black and brown people experience. And I realized that culture was not in the essence of it. Culture and ethnicity was not in the essence of the number one people skill for success, which is emotional intelligence. And so I started going even deeper, and I was like, man, I started challenging concepts, and I started challenging perspective, and I started challenging how Black and brown folks are seen in general, and then also these lenses of whiteness, how they affect definitions and how they affect perspective and how they affect education. And so I really got into this space of like, okay, emotional intelligence is an amazing tool, but it's not being correctly applied through a lens of color. And that's where I came up with cultural emotional intelligence. And that's my baby now. And it's growing, from a little pup, and now it's starting to grow, and now it's going to take over. So this is the number one skill, you guys, that you need to create success. There's a study done by a guy named Travis Bradberry. He's an emotional intelligence expert. And these two facts you need to make sure you remember out of what I'm telling you today. Number one, that emotional intelligence is the highest predictor of success among all job categories at all levels. Doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter what you do, what part of the world you're from, emotional intelligence is the highest predictor of whether you're going to advance in what you do. Make sure you understand that. And then two, people with high emotional intelligence they make 29,000 more per year than people with low emotional intelligence. 29,000. So take whatever you make right now, whatever you make right now, and add $30,000 to it per year, and then add that on to, you know, the next 5, 6, 10 years of your life. Just want you to think about that. That's how powerful it is. That's how important it is to your success. But yet, most people do not have high EQ. And most Black and brown folks are still looking at it through a white lens. So that's where I come in. So look, I want to stop here because this is really, I unpacked a lot, but I really want to open it up right now for questions. If you want to ask me anything about myself or what I do or my career, I think that can be done right now.
I have a question. Was there a reference to emotional intelligence, like a book or something that one of your mentors may have shared with you that kind of put you on the path of seeking out information about emotional intelligence?
There wasn't a book, but it was a lifestyle change. So it was like I started this. I think reading. I know it sounds corny. Reading is fundamental, but like reading, not these corny textbooks that we read every, you know, in college, because a lot of those textbooks don't have. They have a lot of theory, but they don't have a lot of applied experience. And I don't know about you guys, but being a Black person, our time is already limited because we're fighting so hard just to stay afloat. So we don't have time to be theorizing nothing. We need strong information so that we can get from point A to point B, and we need to know what we're going to experience in the process. You know, if you're a person of color, I think you understand that to an extent. It's like, yo, like not generalizing all people of color. You understand? I'm not coming at all people. We all have different experiences, okay? But for the most part, you know, some of us, you know, don't have 8 generations of wealth, okay? You know, there's some of our stories and our paths. We experience challenge continually and consistently, and it continues to be a burden to our success. And so we need powerful information. We need to know how to get from point A to point B, not in 16 years, but in a couple of years. We need to be able to amass wealth. We need to be able to position ourselves to be able to capitalize on the opportunities that are presented. And so I had to really take this mindset that whatever was going to happen in my life is going to be my fault, you know, whether good or bad. It's me. So either I change or nothing else changes. And so it actually came from challenge, you know, from being down, from being, you know, me and my wife for a long time, we were just trying to figure out, like, what is it? Something is not working, you know, like we're working hard. We're doing our, you know, what I thought was the blueprint to success, going to school, getting your education, and then success is just supposed to be there. It's not true. It's not true at all. I mean, look, most of us, you know, now COVID hits and we're, oh, shoot, what you gonna do now? You know, so this really being stressed and really being what I call persecuted is kind of where I felt like I needed to develop myself at a higher rate. Like I didn't have any excuses. Nobody was going to come to my aid. You know, it was going to be me. And so when I made that shift, that mental shift, And then I'd already been starting to practice some of these, what I call success habits, like reading books and studying other people that are successful in their different fields. That was really the catalyst. It was like this process, this shift, this paradigm shift in my mind was the biggest key. It wasn't like one book. It wasn't like one piece of information. It was a shift in my mind that was like, yo, if the ship is going down, it's gonna be because you didn't do what you needed to do. And if the ship is gonna sail, then it's gonna be what you got to do. So I'm not looking for anybody else to do this work. And we have to have that mindset. It's like, yo, you want to get it, you ain't got no excuses no more. There's a lot of stuff that is against us, and and I'm so empathetic to that, especially black and brown. I see it. I'm with you. So don't get me wrong. Like I'm not saying pull yourself by the bootstraps if you ain't got no boots. But what I am saying is, we have to have a higher degree of excellence, a higher degree of fire, and so we can separate ourselves personally and professionally, so that when we want to get this job opportunity or we want to advance, we're not asking for anything. People are coming to you. People are coming to us because we positioned ourselves in such a way and we have such skill with people that now it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know why we didn't pick Janine in the first place. Like she's so, yeah, we need you. We need you right now. Like whatever we got to pay you, whatever we got to do, we just want you here. And creating that is a process. And that was a process for me. So that mind shift is the biggest thing I think that changed my life. Any other questions? Because I know you guys are buzzing off the rocker, off the chain right now. Nobody's saying that. It's okay, but yeah. Any other questions about anything that I said?
Oh,
Emotional intelligence.
someone put a question in the chat. How would you say you can overcome implicit bias in the workplace? Is it through emotional intelligence or your skill level performance? Both or one more than the other? Wow,
that's huge. Okay, and I want to preface everything I'm saying. This is my perspective, okay? This is my perspective. Let me say that first off, okay? Some of these terms that we're anchored in, and I talk about this a lot, anchoring, being anchored. Anchors are things that we use to find a reference point so that we can make quick decisions, okay? Terms that we use are anchors, and they keep us within these small confines of thought, okay? Let me give you an example. If I say pick a number between 1 and 10, I've anchored you between the numbers of 1 and 10, okay? So now all your answers are in there, in that frame. We, as Black and brown people, and even as Caucasian people, have all been anchored in whiteness to a huge extent, okay? White philosophy, white education, white everything. And I'll talk about what I believe whiteness is, not as an ethnicity, but as a social position of control. I'm assuming some of you guys understand when I'm talking about white supremacy. You understand that I'm not talking about an ethnic group, but a social position of control, domination, and destruction of all non-white people. Okay, these are terms I'm throwing out, and I might be throwing a water hose at you right now, but some other time I can explain it in more detail. But the point is, these terms like implicit bias, right? White privilege, right? These are all terms that we're anchored in, but we didn't create these terms. Black and brown people didn't create these terms. My personal belief, this is my personal belief, is that when you're experiencing bias with power, that's racism in some way, okay? If it's coming from the dominant culture group, all right? That's where the system is already set up. So when we're talking about, if you're navigating certain aspects of your personal and professional career, we have to change the terminology for us, because it's kind of like, let's say somebody just came out of nowhere and just punched you in the face, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, you know, you just get knocked over, and then the person that just punched you said, oh no, I didn't punch you, I just gave you a love tap. Like, no, you just punched me in my face and you knocked me over. Like, this is, I'm bleeding out of my face now. What's going on? These terms that we're anchored in a lot, like implicit bias, even when you say it, it sounds so nice and so encouraging. White privilege, like, this is racism. If it's coming from the dominant culture group, this is not a love tap. This is a punch. And how we frame these terms determine how we interact with them. And we have to start coming to a new understanding of terminology first. I think that's the first place. And then to more answer your question, you said, is emotional intelligence the key factor, or is it performance and skill when navigating these types of things? Well, yes, both. You have to have a certain level of proficiency. I mean, it's just like, that's entry level. That's entry level. So you got to be able to be proficient in what you do. That's like putting on your clothes. We shouldn't have to talk so much about that. But once you get in the door and you're actually doing the job at a what we call proficient level, you have to level up, right? And how you level up is through your people skill. You have to get better at getting others to be excited about helping you in your journey, about advocating for you. That is where emotional intelligence comes in. And what I call it cultural emotional intelligence, because we're adding culture and ethnicity into the framework. So now when you're trying to get you're trying to get this new project going, but nobody's hearing you, you're able to speak to that in a way that acknowledges true reality. Like, hey, you understand that you're a person of color. You understand that this person is challenging you in certain ways, and some of these ways may potentially have some racial implications to them. Most likely they do, but you still have to navigate that. And so being good at understanding people, you can kind of override some of these, what I call subconscious behaviors, because people do it. Like, we're all prejudiced on some level, right? I mean, that's where the bias all comes in. But through years of us, like, developing biases, and then also having a power structure to be able to implement those biases, we have to learn culturally how to navigate those based off of white supremacy, based off of our current work environment, and based off the person or people that we're actually dealing with. So I don't know if that answered the question. I hope it did. There's a lot of different aspects to that question that you said, and I think the main things are that you develop the people skill, which is emotional intelligence, and you have to have a base level competence at what you do. Like, it really, like, if your manager has to keep telling you about the same thing over and over again, it's like, maybe you are experiencing racism, but if you don't do that, nobody can help you. It's almost like, So really that professional development piece of, like, once you do your job you don't stop. You continue to develop yourself in that area to where it becomes more efficient, more smooth, to where it requires less of your energy and effort, so that it starts to run on autopilot. So that way you can actually start thinking, using your conscious mind to tackle even bigger problems. And that's really where you become that asset. That's where you become that asset. Is like, okay, we already know, let's use somebody else's name in here. We already know that that David Allen, I'm calling you David, I know you're not on the, you don't have the video on right now, but we already know David Allen does a good job at this. But what if this stretch assignment, he might be able to do this stretch assignment because he does this so well. Now I'm on a subconscious level, I'm looking at you for promotion because I know that you can do way more than what I'm asking you to do. And now you have position, you positioned yourself for success, because the day-to-day requirements of your job don't take up the bulk of your energy and effort, if that makes any sense. So yeah.
Somebody else asked, Nubia, can you share an example of before and after of using cultural emotional intelligence and how it impacted you?
I can give you a general example that was a huge change in my life. So I was in HR, and I realized really quickly that HR is, you get to see so much of the behind the scenes. And that's what I loved about it, because I got to see, like, what are these hiring managers actually doing during the process? You know, how are they doing their processes? How do they think when they're on these interview panels? How do the, you know, HR people work with these hiring managers? You know, so I got to see all the behind the scenes stuff, which was amazing. But I also saw the limitations, okay? Because I knew that within human resources, I would be anchored in that particular industry's core values, thoughts, ideas on some level, okay? But I wanted to help y'all. I wanted to help Black and brown people, and I knew I couldn't do that in that space. I would have to water down, I would have to filter so much of my message that people like you guys who need that raw, you know, because you don't got time to be trying to decipher coding and, oh, does he really mean this? Like, yeah, no, I mean this, and this is what you need to do. And yeah, that person is racist, and probably is racist, and probably will continue to be racist, but this is what we got to do, okay? And so I couldn't speak unapologetically and be as authentically Black in those spaces as I feel like I could be opening up my own company and my own business. So that was an example of emotional intelligence, because, or cultural emotional intelligence, because I realized what my strengths were. I realized what my weaknesses were, which is all a part of awareness. And I also realized my platform is so much bigger, and I can make so much more money. It's like we were talking about caps and limits on what you can do. One of the fastest ways to get capped is through just doing one thing or just being in one industry. And I thought bigger than that. And it doesn't mean that you can't have success in a particular industry, because you can. But when you hit a cap, you have to ask yourself this question. Okay, am I going to spend another 10 years here, grind it out? Am I going to go look for another position, grind it out that way? Or am I going to create my own? And so my thought process was, I can still be as authentically myself and talk about my culture and ethnicity and open spaces and in this way on such a big platform. And that was really where I felt like cultural emotional intelligence applied to me. Now you can do that in your spaces too as well, but you have to pick the right opportunities. You have to pick the right teams, because some teams, if you start trying to assert who you are culturally, that's a no-no. Like they're like, yo, I don't like your food. I don't like the way it smells. I don't like how you don't go to these after work things that we do. You're just not meshing with the culture. You talk too directly to me, and you're hurting my white fragility right now. So I don't see you in a lens that's going to help you to move or advance. So you like picking the right team, picking the right opportunity is like half of the battle. And the problem is, and I'll tell you this is a problem, and it's a lot of us, we're so afraid, like fear. When we talk about emotional intelligence, fear is one of those things that will debilitate your success, because it's typically not real. Like it's typically like all the things that we imagine typically do not happen, right? Like the last time you were like, oh my gosh, if I do this, I'm gonna die. You're not gonna die. There's gonna be like a few minutes or maybe even an hour where you feel discomfort, and then you're gonna be all right. Okay. And if you don't get this job, there's another one. And there's plenty. And if there's not a job, then you'll create one. And you have to have that that mindset, and it has to grow inside of you. It's like a fire that you have to continue to kindle and ignite, so that you know that you can actually get those positions even in a tough downturn economy, even when even when there's systemic racism, even when there's limited potential, even when they're not hiring in this area. And that is really that next level of mindset that separates people, and that's the mindset that you have to have in order to take these opportunities that are just for you. So yeah.
I have a question. So when you are a young person, 18, 19, 20, right? And you haven't yet got the formal education beyond high school, and you're trying to navigate the workplace as a person of color, how do you think one can apply emotional intelligence and still arrive to work not feeling like they have to code switch and be their whole self, to a point where it's acceptable and that they are still seen as serious and that they are an asset to the team?
Can you break those up? Because there's three different things I thought about, and I want to make sure I answer all of them. But the first thing that stuck out when you said that was, being young, how do you be authentic to yourself? Then two, there's another question in there that was like, can you repeat that one more time? Like break it down.
How can they, because they're already young and they may not have the formal education as the professional, but they are living on their own. So they have adulting skills and they're practicing adulting skills, but they're seen as less than because they may not have the professional job. So they might work at the mall, or they might work at the airport, but they want to still be who they are. They don't want to have code switch so much in order to be at work, because that can be draining. And so it's, what advice would you have for someone who's young and want to be professional, be seen as professional, but also still kind of be able to function as who they are and
Okay.
lose that part of them. But management still see them as an asset to the team.
I'm gonna write part of this down because not because you didn't explain it well, but because there was a couple of things that kind of went on in my mind that I have to write down in order to stay on track. See, this is emotional intelligence right now. I know myself. I know I can't I can't take on too much information without writing it down. Let me see here. Wait a second. And then, okay, so the first thing, being young, you have to realize this, and this is going to be very, very challenging. When you're 18 to 24, and I got to say this kind of raw just so that it can sit in your mind, you got to go get it, like at the highest possible level, and you can't look at people around you. Okay, this is going to be the hardest thing. You got to go and use all that energy that you have. Like at 18, 24, you have so much energy. You have so much like fire. You're not gonna have like more energy. You see what I'm saying? Like this period of your life from 18 to 24, like depending on if you're single or whatever, like this is the time that you got to go and like wreck stuff, like mess some stuff up. Like you should be working ridiculously hard right now. I know this is probably going to be counter to what some folks might say to you, which is like, oh, you know, you're young, you can figure it out. No, you can't figure it out. You need to go and use your energy to be in as many different types of things that you can within the areas of your skill set. So I want to make that plain. Like you gotta, if you want to be a certain thing and you kind of narrow down at least the industry that you want to be in, you should be working in that industry. You should be volunteering. You should be holding groups in that area. You should be submerging yourself in that industry and in that culture and in that and in that field. Like you should be tired. You should be super tired at night. Like you shouldn't have time for Netflix except for like on the weekends. Like if you're talking about, if you're having lots of fun right now, you're going to pay later. And that was the one thing that I really did not understand until now. It's like you either pay now and play later, or you either pay now and play later, or you am I saying this right? You either pay now and play later, or you pay later and play. I'm gonna stop that. But the point is that during this period of your life, you have to get involved in as many different types of things as you can in your area or in your industry. And then two, you have to get mentors. Like that is the crux of your success at this point, because there's so many things that you're not going to have as far as experience, and mentors can help you fill that gap in. So you want to have mentors that have done what you want to do at the highest possible level. And you want to continue to ask them questions. You want to take them out to dinner. You want to do whatever you can to get in their good graces, to make sure that you can learn from their knowledge and from their skill. The other thing with that is it's going to cut your learning curve in half. So you don't have to go through so many different trials and challenges because that mentor has already done that. So they can kind of steer you in the right direction. So your actions will start to make you appear as if you're older. So your actions will start to actually exemplify others of a higher age group. Like people will start to see you, and you'll position yourself in people's mind as a go-to person because you're already doing higher level work than you actually applied for. So you've got the, let's say I don't know, let's just say you wanted to do something in technology, right? And you're like an entry level IT person. Well, if you're 18 to 24, you should already be taking online classes and certifications. You should be, starting groups. You should have a mentor or 2 or 3 that, you should have a 6-figure mentor, a 7-figure mentor. And if you can't get the 7-figure, 6-figure mentor yet, then get whoever you can and build your network, because you need to see it. You need to see it. You need to see that it's possible, and you need to see that where you're at right now has no indication of where you're going to be later. But you can just continue to keep absorbing other people's you can keep on absorbing other people's success and make it your own, because we become this like associated. It's weird. Our brains are crazy, and we don't even actually need to experience something. We can experience it in our minds, and it can actually program us into a new state and a new level of success just by training your mind. So the thing that I would say, if I might have went a little too big, high level, but one is your energy is the highest it's ever going to be. So you need to go wreck some stuff. You need to go fail. You need to go skin your knees, bruise your elbows and all that. Go get it. Go find 19 different things that you can do, within reason. And you need to get a mentor. Those are the 2 biggest things that I would give you for that place in your life when you're 18 and you want to be seen, or 18 to 24, and you want to be seen as that professional. You got to do it. You got to do it in your on little groups, and it doesn't take a lot. You can go and start a Facebook group in the area that you want to grow in, and or you can ask somebody else to start one, and you can be a part of it. Just the point is, you need to fill up your cup. That's it.
All right. Is there any other questions from anyone in the audience for Emmanuel in regards to emotional intelligence and professional development?
Or any questions about me in general, like, why'd you go to Benson? Because Benson is such an amazing school, at least it used to be. Why are you a techman? Why did you?
Okay, well, I would like to give you the opportunity to share about the different workshops you hold, just in case anyone wants to reach out to you.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can make your last points, and then we'll break.
Okay, cool. So I have a cultural emotional intelligence workshop, and basically how I work is I work on a personal level. All my work is person-centered. So the 3 areas that I will be working in different workshops or different personalized group sessions or individual coaching will be in cultural emotional intelligence, really understanding what that is, understanding your social environment, understanding who you are culturally. That's kind of the mindset piece that starts out, right? Then we go into cultural, emotional intelligence communication, which is where you understand the basics of communicating and expressing yourself culturally in appropriate ways, and also understanding basics of people skill. Then the last phase is cultural, emotional intelligence negotiation. This is where we get into the fine-tuned nitty-gritty. This is how you assert yourself. This is how you defend against certain anchors, certain things that might be used against you during conflict conversations. Like these, that's really where we get into the nitty gritty of communication, is in cultural, emotional intelligence negotiations. So those three areas, cultural, emotional intelligence, is where it all starts. You got to understand this, because if you don't understand that, the other parts just don't make sense. And then there's cultural, emotional intelligence communication, and then cultural, emotional intelligence negotiation. Okay. And I do individual, group, or workshops, depending on the situation and depending on the person or group that I'm working with. And I guess my last things that I would say is that, man, people are amazing. Like when you really start to dive into who you are, that personal journey, it's going to be the most exciting thing that you've ever done. Like knowing you, it's so tight. Like I'm older than you guys. I'm 35, but like I'm just starting to scratch the surface, and I've been doing this for a while, this personal journey and discovery of who I am. But it's exciting, man, once you start realizing like how tight you are, like how amazing you are as a person. It helps you to just appreciate life in such a new way. And it also helps you to appreciate others, even people that you don't rock with, people that you don't like. You appreciate them too, because you're like, man, like they don't see the world like how I see the world, but they have value, and I'm gonna treat you with value. Like even people that these people out here that are super, on the what I call on the heavy racist scale, that are doing these crazy things that are, hurting Black and brown folks. Like they're still people. You know what I mean? And when we start to understand them, we can navigate this better. We can navigate this better. We don't have to be victims all the time. And that's one of the main things that I could just give you guys is know yourself and know people. And if you do those two things, your success in life, personally, in business, professionally, is going to explode.
Well, Emmanuel, thank you for sharing with us, and I hope to continue to work with you and grow with you, and able to use some of your tools with our participants across the agency, and hope to have you back soon. So we appreciate
I appreciate that.
This.
I really do. I hope you guys got some value. I know I speak strong, but I feel like we have to. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of time to be dilly-dallying. You guys already have enough people like that, that are gonna, I feel like, coming straight from the hip with love. It's not that I don't see where you're at. I do see where you're at, and I feel like the message that I need to send needs to hit the core of you in order to move. So I hope it's hard with these Zoom meetings because you're not seeing people as much. The interaction is different. But I hope you guys got some value from what I said, and hope to be back sometime.
Definitely. And everyone have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. And we're going to have another Zoom on Wednesday. And so you guys will be getting that invite shortly. Thank you. And like I said, I appreciate you for sharing with us.
Yeah. All
All right.
right.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. See you guys.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.